Morning coffee. I just got back from the airport. It's, I don't know, maybe 5:30 in the morning now. I dropped my son off for his flight to Atlanta. He's going to be doing some work down there. And I'll tell you what, when they tell you that there's no such thing as karma, I would refute that. For 2 or 3 years, my youngest son took me back and forth to the airport for business trips at the crack of dawn, and now it's my turn. So my daughter will be home basing from here as well, and I'll be taking her to the airport as well. So between the two of them, I'm returning the karma, paying my debt to my youngest son for the trips, early morning trips to back and forth to the airport. On my way home, though, I was listening to my favorite artist, Pink, one of my favorite artists, and she had a song on her new album called Turbulence. And the words that were resonant for me, I'm going to read them to you, that I wrote them down. The panic is temporary, but I'll be permanent. So when it hits, don't forget. As scary as it is, it's just turbulence. And I thought about those words, and I thought about our lives, and I thought about as a world, as a humanity, the last 2 years or so, 3 years really, it's 2023 now. 3 years ago, in March, the world, we hit the panic button, didn't we? Because of a tiny microscopic virus. And it all came undone, or seemed to. And there was conspiracy theories, and there was drama and trauma in so many lives worldwide. Life came to a screeching halt for so many of us. I work in healthcare. The things that those of us in the healthcare industry experienced at various levels was, incredible. Lives forever changed. You can't go back on that. And as we go forward, in any aspect of life, coming out of this pandemic, people lost lives, people lost relationships, people lost the perspective changes and all of this, and yet these words are still resonant. It's turbulence. It's a shakeup to say, who are we as a humanity? Who am I as a human being inside of this grand humanity? And even as I talked about a couple days ago, this concept of paradigm shifters. And I camped in that day around the folks who are in the LGBTQA community, but there are other people who are paradigm shifters. People in the spiritual community, myself, I would include in that, because those of us who are trying to find a voice and put it out there and say, listen, something has to change. And we're sitting here saying, look, we're not going to swing these pendulums from where they shouldn't be and just let them rubber band and slam into this wall and create chaos. Let's go from chaos to chaos. Let's do that, right? That makes some sense. No, it does not. It doesn't make any damn sense. Let's talk about how do we go from something that isn't working to something more gentle that might work. It's not to say that it's going to work. It's to say that this isn't working, right? It's not to be so radical as to say, you are wrong and this is right. It's to say, this is wrong. I think this might be right. Let's try it. And if we have learned anything from the lessons of the past, is to say, there is no absolute right. There is no absolute one right way to do anything. Because, as I said one other time, I can get in my car here where I reside and head towards downtown Kansas City, and there are as many ways to get there as there are people that I will ask. And not one of those ways is wrong. Some of them will be more efficient. Some of them will be faster. Some of them will be slower. Some of them will be more scenic. Some of them will be, you get where I'm going, right? So what's your preference? And in the same way, you can take that analogy into life. We want to get to the end of our life or to nirvana or heaven or the spirit, back to the spiritual realm because we're souls. And there's one way to get there. That's a message that we hear. There's one way to get there. Get on this road and this road only. Well, there's not one way to the destination. There are as many ways to get there as there are people you will ask. And so can we put our swords down? Can we minimize the turbulence for one another? Can we help each other along instead of hinder one another? I think we can. I think we should. And so those are my thoughts on this early morning coffee. And so I would challenge you to think about how can you help minimize the turbulence, not only in your life, but in the lives of those around you. Those are my thoughts today. Morning coffee. Thank you for joining me.